Yo, yo, what's going on, folks? How y'all doing? Canal here, Bulls on Wall Street. Hope everybody had a good day. Fun market around. Kind of another consolidation day. We're just kind of coiling up here near highs. It doesn't have any significant meaning that we're not going any higher. If anything, we saw tons of just breakouts galore today. If you're looking at stocks that are making, a large percentage moves. Um, you see hundreds of them that had a pretty significant moves today. And so, that tells you that the health of the market, even though you weren't seeing necessarily anything in the indices, there were stocks making moves, and that's all you need for a tradable market. Usually, sometimes the flat days are the best days to trade because you're going to start to see random groups of stocks bust loose. Let's take a look at the watch list. I like the location of this PACB here. It's flagging up here. You can tell if it kind of takes up the 750 zone, this thing is going to break out. It does have a history of kind of making some pretty sharp moves, so it looks like it's coiling for another one. We've got AGEN here. It's not parabolic enough just yet, but it's starting to get there. Today was, a little bit bigger than, the previous day, right? And so it's getting there. But see, when you have just 6-7% days in this market, that doesn't mean as much. In the past, you see something that's up 5-6 days and it's nearly doubled. It means something. But this is a runaway market. I mean, you're seeing just goofballs become millionaires these days, and so this is not parabolic enough. You see like a huge push at the open towards 6 or something like that. That might be something that we could take to the short side for a rubber band short, but I'm stalking it. It just might take another day or so. It might have more in it. MNI, really like the location on this one also. It kind of reminds me of kind of how KNDI looked the other day before it took off, where it was just resting right underneath highs and then it gapped up and just took off. It's got that same type of look over there. FFIV, right? So this one's got a nice location. It's just sitting here at the 110 mark, but we're right at highs here. I think that this one looks like it's got another leg up for this one as it's been consolidating for a couple weeks. OXBT, this one's a turd. You know what? This one's a turd, but you can tell this thing is just getting ready to really start going. It's one of those stocks, especially in a market like this where you're just kind of seeing everything go. It's getting there. It's getting there, and it's at a good location. I don't know when it's going to go. This stock typically just goes on PRs and stuff like that. But you can see that it's getting to that location where usually when it sits around for a little bit, you start to get a pop. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing make a run to $8 or so just out of the blue. I got to keep this on watch and just you never know when this thing gets hit with a PR or it just starts to run because the whole sector of biotechs are running. C-Trip, I'm still watching this one. I was gonna take this one for a swing trade today, and I kind of left my eye off of it. But it's still got some room to go. This one, when it moves, it moves. SGOC, this is a low floater that we've kind of forgotten about over the last couple months, but you can start to see it's starting to kind of perk up here, and now we're starting to flag here under 4. If we can kind of take out this zone, right, you might see some upside in this. I probably would only play it if I saw some volume come in right off the bat at the open, or if it gapped up a little bit. If it gaps up a little bit, that's usually a good signal of strength that there's some interest in this thing, before it gets going. Otherwise, it's going to be too thin, and I'll leave it alone. But once again, these low floaters, after they've been sitting around, they kind of pop out of nowhere. You just gotta, remember which ones typically run in which cycles and things of that nature, and you'll catch it. Yelp, I'm still watching this one. It's grinding now, so it's kind of lost a lot of its coil. See how it was chilling at 90, and now it's been grinding, and so the flag is actually done, right? And so it's gonna have to reset up again. So I kind of and I've kind of taken off my immediate watch list. It's something that I'll watch, later on if in case it dips or does something like that, because it's already started to make its move. It didn't make that one big, $3-4 explosive move that I was looking for. It kind of grinded its way higher, but the setup has been lost on it. OWW, I'm still holding this one from swing from like the 890s. I sold a piece off today on the spike, but this stock still looks pretty good. Like it's got more room to go. SEMO is ready, right now. Right now. You might see this thing get pushed right up at the open, and we'll see what happens after that. And then SPWR, we saw CSIQ go to the SPWR, right? This thing goes back from October. If this thing does break, watch it run for a few days. And then, UNXL, I've been just kind of, this is like SGOC. You got to stalk it for a bit, keep it on your watch list, set an alert, a volume alert or, a price alert in case something comes in and just, leave it alone. I'm not going to be sitting there all day staring at it. I like to tier my watch list in terms of things that are ready now, right? Things that could be ready, and if XYZ happens, and then kind of like a third tier of like, stocks that I kind of play all the time that are just in play or something like that. And so, I'll keep this on my list, but it's not going to be, at the top. And then blocks, it's still going here, right? This bounce is still going. Maybe one more day, and then we can get some downside action on this thing. It's been a really nice dead cat bounce for the most part. We'll fill up a little bit more area, and then I fully expect this thing to kind of come right back down. Maybe not down to 18, but we could probably get a good run back to $20 or so. So that's it for now, guys. Email me if you guys have any trouble with trading or anything like that. It's a great market to really kind of learn at, because there's just every day there's so many breakouts, and one of the things that happens when you're learning is you need to really practice a lot and get a lot of repetitions, and this market definitely gives you a lot of opportunities. So make sure you study up and get ready every day, because they don't last forever. This is a fun time. So take care, and I will see you all later.